This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Here it comes. Boy, it was trouble to get the show on the YouTube today, but I managed to pull it off. Forgot to click a button. All hell breaks loose. My apologies if you were looking around for the link and it wasn't there. When I tried to click over after our meeting and realized, oh, I forgot to click it, I fixed it, but hopefully we didn't lose anybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to find this little show anyway. You guys are super awesome. Wes, thank you for contributing via the show PayPal today. Another $5 from Wes. Delette throwing down with a recurring PayPal payment. Deidre L as well. Kathy O. Chris H. You guys, thank you for keeping the show rolling. Much appreciated. I really could not do it without you, so I can't tell you how much it means, really. Please click the like button and please click subscribe if you can. Well, I don't know if it's a symbol of love, because we all know how this love story ended up. But I don't know if you saw this. It's gorgeous, and what a find. This symbol of a major relationship in the world after years of being lost to the world has finally been secured. Centuries it was lost. This is a Henry VIII love token to, I believe, Catherine of Aragon. And it had been lost for centuries. It's a 24-karat gold heart. That thing is big and it is thick. Look at that. It's broken just like their love. The chain, yeah, no. The initials in red, the couple's initials are in red, and it has a picture of the Tudor rose and a pomegranate tree. This is a very famous piece of jewelry. It was acquired by the British Museum after they raised £3.5 million, or $4.8 million, to save it from being sold to a private collector. It was supposed to be a symbol of Henry and Catherine's love, but their love was doomed. Off with her head, apparently. It was lost for hundreds of years. I have another picture of it that just kind of shows the intricate detail on the other side. It truly is spectacular. I mean, I don't know how much it cost in those days, but if someone gives you something this substantial, you're thinking, sure, I'll make the trip from Spain to be your wife. Absolutely. Not that she had much of a choice. But here's a picture of the pendant. You can see the intricate carvings and the jewels that are embedded. Look at that. I mean, it really is beautiful and impressive. In 2019, it was discovered by, yes, a metal detectorist. We need to get a metal detector. Each of us go on metal detector walks. We get our 5 minutes of exercise, and who knows what we'll find, right? They found it in a field in Warwickshire. Now, under British treasure laws, museums across the country have the chance to acquire significant historical finds before they go up for sale. This pendant is the only piece of jewelry which still exists from Henry's 24-year marriage to Catherine. And it has this banner, you can see on the back, which says toujours, or always, in French. The item is so important and so, beloved, of interest, of national interest to the people in the UK and beyond, that they took up a collection so that it could stay in the public domain and a museum could display it. 45,000 people all got together and came up with £380,000 alongside the funding provided by the National Heritage Memorial Fund and other trusts to raise the price tag. Half of it goes to the metal detectorist, half of it goes to the landowner of the field where it was found. The British Museum director says this beautiful survivor tells us about a piece of English history few of us knew, but and now which we can all share. It was believed to have been created in the year 1518 to celebrate the betrothal of Henry and Catherine's daughter Mary to the French heir apparent. But of course, we know by the early 1530s, Henry no longer loves Catherine. He falls in love with Anne Boleyn because he's trying to get a male heir. He breaks away from the Catholic Church to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. We don't know exactly when this pendant was lost. How did it end up in this field in the UK? And what a lucky find by this metal detectorist in 2019. So again, it is now sold to this museum, the British Museum, for $4.8 million. That is £3.5 million. And I think that's worth saving. This is a pretty important piece. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Maybe not the outcome we were looking for. But speaking of royal jewels, oh, what happened here? Yeah, this is a crown that the thieves broke on the way out of the recent heist at the Louvre. This crown belonged to Empress Eugenie. It was found on the sidewalk after robbers scooped up 8 pieces of royal jewelry back in October. You remember that? And they dropped one? That's what they dropped. And when they dropped it, blam. Surprising that they did so much damage to it. It kind of got crushed here. But it was found on the sidewalk, and now it needs to be fixed. How much do you think it's going to cost to fix that? See, I would think that bending the metal back would be kind of easy. Maybe a jeweler would have to secure the diamonds, make sure everything's on the up and up. But I mean, it doesn't seem like it'd be that hard, right? How much do you think it would cost to fix that? A repair. Gold is soft. That's what I thought, Mobius. They can fix it, says Gordon. Yes, they can. At what cost? Any guesses? It's gaudy. Well, I think it was meant to be. I mean, it's a royal crown. If anyone can be gaudy, right, it's the person wearing the crown. Sandy with 11,780. Funny, but yet that would be cheap, actually. I thought one of them stepped on it during the escape, which is why it's all stove up. Is that what happened? I can imagine in the chaos someone would. Yeah, Mobius knows. $50,000 to fix this thing. Is going to be expensive to fix it, but they're doing it. Officials at the Louvre say that thieves crushed this crown while attempting to extract it from a too small hole in its glass case. And then, as Heather mentions, as they fled the scene, they dropped it on the sidewalk and perhaps stepped on it. So the robbers broke into the Louvre's Apollo Gallery through a second-floor window the morning of October 19th, 2025. It was a brisk morning. They laid the ladder up against the side of the building, hoping no one would notice, and they got a few minutes under their belt. They stole 8 pieces of royal jewelry, including items from the collection of Napoleon III and his wife, Eugenie. They took 9 pieces, but dropped this very ornate crown. It looks like emeralds and diamonds and gold. It was created for the Universal Exhibition in Paris in 1855, adorned with 56 emeralds, 8 golden eagles, and 1,354 diamonds. They arrested the 4 men. I think they arrested more people than that, but at least the 4 who carried out the heist. But other jewels still have not been found. The stuff they took, gone. The Empress's crown, the only stolen piece recovered on the day of the theft. It does still have almost all of its ornamentation, almost all the important pieces. The diamonds, the emeralds are actually still there. They didn't lose any stones on the stomping or the pulling. A few pieces of diamonds are missing, but that they say is about it. One of the 8 golden eagles on the crown is missing, so they'll have to save that. Okay, so here's how it looks now, all crunched and battered. But after they spend the $50,000 to fix this, here's how it's supposed to look. All right? In its glory, when it was still in the case, it looked pretty fancy. So take a look at the munched version, and here's how it's supposed to look. You can see, I think, better the eagles. Yes, gaudy still, but you know, those are some big diamonds on that cross. And that's what they did to it. So they're going to fix it up. And by the time they fix it up, hopefully it'll look like that again. They say that the crown's crushed appearance was not caused by a drop to the ground, that thieves used an angle grinder to cut through the glass case. And the glass had been difficult to break, forcing the robbers to extract the jewels through a very small hole. And the glass resisted when they tried to yank things out, and so the objects were crushed as they were being pulled through the hole. And that, they say, is how Eugenie's crown came to look like it had been stepped on. The initial assessments suggest a delicate restoration is possible. It does look stepped on. Crunch. I mean, if you're the thief, I guess you're going to melt it all down and take out the gems anyway, because there's no way you can sell it, as Eugenie's crown, right? So maybe they didn't care the damage they were doing, but so upset. They said the crown's flexible, lightweight mount was deformed, one of its palm-shaped ornaments detached. A fragment of the ornament was found near the display case that protected the crown in the Apollo Gallery. But because nearly all of its other pieces are still attached, they think this crown can be completely restored without the need for reconstruction. They only have to reshape the framework. So that's the good part. There's another picture of the chunks they found, the chunks of the crown that they found around. And I would say dangling off the side that they had to pull. And here's what it looks like. I have a picture for you. So that's one side of the crunching, but here's another side of the crunching as well. You can see all the pieces. Take a look at this picture. Oh, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. Yeah, but at least they found it all, right? And at least they can fix it. It is a piece of history. It is important to the world. So, worth fixing. But it's a bummer that they have to. They said they're going to set up a scientific committee to supervise the restoration. And they say it will be, when repaired, a beautiful symbol of the Louvre's Renaissance. So they have a big team they're putting together to fix it all up and get it all together. Yeah. Oh, the royal jewels. The royal jewels being preserved for posterity. This kid is amazing. This is a 12-year-old boy from Dallas. And for 4 years, he was trying to achieve nuclear fusion. And now he says he's done it. What? Is that safe? I mean, I have an almost 12-year-old son. I would say, what are you doing in the garage? It's a 4-year-long science project that Aiden, who's a 7th grader, which, he's an overachiever already, has been working on. And he says it's now he's the youngest person to ever achieve nuclear fusion. He started working on this when he was 8. He spent the first 2 years studying nuclear physics concepts before he started building his first prototypes. And he said it took some work to ensure that his mom was comfortable with his messing around with all of this. He said, there was some alarm bells with my mom. She was like, whoa, take a step back and tell me exactly what could go wrong and how it could go wrong and make sure that it doesn't go wrong. But this project ends with this kid, Aiden, achieving nuclear fusion. He said, we got neutrons, kind of tearing up about the about it tearing up about it because it was like hard to describe. It was like the end of a long, long journey. So Aiden is now applying to Guinness World Records to be recognized as the youngest person to achieve nuclear fusion. Currently, that record is held by a Tennessee man named Jackson, who did it just hours before his 13th birthday in 2018. Young Sheldon, indeed. Here's another scientific what? Are you sure this is going to be okay? This guy, he brewed some beer, but it wasn't just any beer, it was vaccine beer to fight a dangerous virus. And apparently, it worked. I think he only tested it on himself. The blood tests revealed the beverage did elicit an immune response. That according to preliminary research, but they need to still do some safety testing and make sure that, it worked as well as thought before they make this type of vaccine available. The virologist Christopher Buck tests this idea on himself with vaccine beer, with the idea being that people dread needles. And if the process could be as painless or enjoyable as drinking a pint of beer, think of all the people that you would have vaccinated. I mentioned yesterday that I had to go to the doctor. It's funny, I'll just an aside. If something's wrong with one of my kids, we're at the pediatrician that day or the next day. But I always seem to put myself on the back burner. So it has been, other than getting COVID shots at the pharmacy, and I think I took Paxlovid when I got COVID a couple of years ago. I had to do a virtual doctor's appointment then. But for going to address all the little things that are wrong and whatnot and getting a general checkup, it has to have been 12 years. I know. I'm remiss in doing it. If you are too, go. Just get it done. I was talking to my best friend, Jenny, and she said it had been 10 years since she went to the doctor, and then I didn't feel so bad. So they gave me a COVID shot and a flu shot yesterday. My arm is killing me. So that's why I mention it, because I got poked yesterday with 2 vaccines. Would I have rather had them in beer form? I don't know. I don't mind getting a shot. I think you get to the age where it's not that big of a deal. So, but if they could have kids just drink something, that would be so much better. So the beer that Christopher Buck created had signals in it that tells the immune system to raise its guard against BK polyomavirus. It causes kidney, bladder, brain, and cardiovascular diseases. And it seems to have, the beer that he created seems to have heightened his body's defenses against this pathogen. He was exploring edible vaccines. The study has not been peer reviewed, so they still need to do a lot of work to see if this, if this is really on the up and up. But here's what he said. The idea really is to take a living yeast, which are what makes beer, and put a vaccine inside the living yeast. And by doing that, you can actually get the yeast to cause an immune response. So he works at the National Cancer Institute, but he said he was conducting the beer project as an independent researcher. He said it's a radically simplified approach to making vaccines. He had some previous experiments he did where he and his colleagues fed mice live yeast containing empty particles that resembled the BK polyomavirus. The particles had formed because the researchers supplied the yeast with genetic instructions to make a protein found in the pathogen's outer shell. And after eating the particles, the animals' bodies did make the BK polyomavirus fighting antibodies. So that analysis led the team to suggest that live yeast protects viral proteins from stomach acid, allowing them to reach the intestines where the immune cells can then learn to recognize them. They, again, not peer-reviewed that study either. But he says, I have home brewed beer on and off for 30 years. So he said, when I saw feeding lab mice with engineered brewer's yeast can produce protective antibody responses against the virus that he studies, he said, my first thought was, well, I can definitely do that at home. I mean, how many people can say that? And so that's what he did in his own kitchen. He said it was one of the best home brews I ever made. And for 5 consecutive days back in May, he drank 1 pint of the vaccine beer. Then he took a 5-day booster dose 7 weeks later, followed by another 7 weeks after that. And his blood tests indicate that after downing the drinks, he produced antibodies for 2 kinds of BK polyomavirus thought to be implicated in some bladder cancers. And no significant side effects either. So, the National Institutes of Health a little upset because the ethics department has questions about all the stuff that he did is going on there. Some researchers are criticizing the work here in the United States. So I don't know, but it's interesting to think that you could create some type of edible vaccine, a drink, a candy, a something that would do the same thing. I don't know. He's testing it out on himself, a brave soul. But I mean, imagine if this research in his kitchen leads to a whole new way of doing vaccines. It's fascinating. Okay, I'm going to the chat, see what you guys have to say. Sometimes I forget and I go from story to story, and the side effect was a hangover, says John Watson. I should explore my refrigerator. Who knows what's out there? Yeah. John Watson says that they could make a beer with some birth control drug in it. They could put it in Budweiser and it would reduce the amount of stupid people being born. Oh, there's so much I could say. How does the vaccine survive the stomach acid? Yeah, I think he mentioned it, that the yeast gets into the intestine. It's protected until it gets into the intestines, and then your body starts making antibodies. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have a oh, that's funny. Tammy says my insurance company tried to bribe me with a Walmart gift card to get a stool sample. Oh man. Um, I had a polio vaccine on a sugar cube back in the day, says Eileen. Really? That's interesting. Yeah. Us too, Eileen, says Gordon. So I guess it's not new. That's cool. All right, we'll move forward. I have a story for you about the skunk train. Do you see this story about the skunk train? You know, and I like the skunk train, I have to say. I mean, it's, touristy. It's part of the Northern California experience for people going up to the redwoods if you've ever been on it. But here's what it is not. It is not BART, Muni, the Caltrain, the Smart Rail. It is not something that helps people get from point A to point B. It's a touristy, kitschy kind of train. But still, because it is a train, apparently it has the ability, the Skunk Train Company, to take land by eminent domain. And they say they needed this land. They took this man's land. This has been going on for a long time with lawsuits flying all over the place. Of course, this is in Mendocino County. It's along a historic logging railroad, the Skunk Train. But last month, an appeals court in California gave the Skunk Train, the company that has authority over it, to take a private property. And it reversed a decision that landed in the favor of the landowner. His name is John Meyer. So Mendocino Railway is the company that operates the Skunk Train. And they, in 2020, filed an action to acquire, via eminent domain, Meyer's 20-acre property in the town of Willits because they wanted to expand the Skunk Train. They said they had the right to acquire this land via eminent domain, which grants government agencies and public utilities like railroads the right to seize private property. They said that they offer passenger commuting and commercial freight operations, so they should be classified as more than just a for-profit tourist attraction. The trial court determined that there wasn't enough evidence available to prove that, especially because a tunnel along the Skunk Train Railway collapsed in 2015, which cut off the route between Willits and Fort Bragg, which uh, really kind of put a damper on the operation. And they said early site plans for Myers' property included a campground and an RV park, which were removed in favor of maintenance and freight loading facilities prior to litigation. So, what do they really want to do with this land? One wonders. So, then there's a ruling that reversed the trial court's 2022 decision. And they said this: our Supreme Court long ago recognized that a public utility retains its status even if it does not directly serve the public. And locals were mad. So, they say, one of the critics said it has no function as a railroad. The train backs up because it can't turn around, because there's nowhere for it to turn around. It can't go forward because the tunnel collapsed. And they do this 4 to 5 times a day. They block Highway 1, they block all the streets, they blare their horns as loud as they can. And that's what they do. That's their whole function. So residents say, no, the railways claim that this is a passenger or commuting or commercial freight service. That's not true. But still, the latest decision is that the acreage goes to the railroad. So interesting. Now comes the cost of how much they're going to pay this man for his acreage. They have compensation costs and discussions that still need to take place. And it's not done, though, because Mr. Meyer intends to take his case to the California Supreme Court. So the fight over the land taken via eminent domain for the skunk train continues. I have another story for you. And this one is a little bit personal because I met this lady at Disneyland. We were there, I don't know, 5 years ago, some such, and came across the evil queen. And she's mean in a way that you don't expect, with kind of off-putting comments, which are totally in character. But because of this, she's become really, really popular. But it looks like her flippant comments and maybe some other things got her fired, allegedly. So her name is Sabrina, and she's played Snow White's evil queen since she was 18 years old. She's now in her late 20s. So it's been for 8 years that she's playing. And she has taken this role to a new level. She's super funny. And earlier this year, Sabrina said she was no longer working at Disneyland, and she gave an interview to People magazine. She expressed gratitude for her time at Disneyland. She said it was a dream getting to do my own spin on a character that really wasn't popular or viral or well known before videos, she said, of me started going around. It was an honor to be able to bring a Disney villain to life and also not be evil, but put more of a comical spin on it and create joy for people, making people smile. And she did that. I will admit, she's hilarious. She said all while being a villain, and it was very rewarding. So recently, she does another interview with News Nation, and she says she was actually fired from her evil queen job because of something she said to a guest at Disneyland. So she says the park was planning on rotating her evil queen character out of the daily operation. So a park visitor approaches her during a filmed interaction. They have it on video to ask why the evil queen's presence is being reduced on Disneyland grounds. She said the video really shows her not disclosing anything, but saying this: if guests want the evil queen around, go tell City Hall and make your voices known. And that appears to have been a rule broken, That's it. Yeah, you can't do it. You can't break character. You can't tell people to go to Disneyland and tell them you want the evil queen. You have to stay in character. So it looks like they were looking for a way to get rid of her anyway, which is super silly because she was amazing in that part as a Disney cast member. But that's why if you go to Disneyland, you won't see the evil queen walking around anymore. And if you do, it won't be Sabrina. So that's a bummer. I remember when I met her and I was like, wow, she is funny and good. All right, before we take a little travel, a little trip, let us do the lotto of the day. This is about a traffic light leading this man in Maryland to a $100,000 lottery prize. He said a $10 lottery voucher and a well timed traffic light led to his winning $100,000 off a scratch off ticket. He was weighing whether he was going to stop for a ticket while he was waiting at this light on his way home from work. He was like, I wasn't going to stop, but when the light was green, I turned, and I guess it was the winning stop. So he pulls into the 7-Eleven on 7th Street in Laurel, Maryland, gets his $10 lottery voucher on the 50 times the cash ticket, which is a new scratch off game, I guess. He said he had some trouble understanding the ticket. I never saw a multiplier before, he said. I thought maybe I won $500. But when he looked a little more closely, he revealed the ticket was actually worth $100,000. So he said much of the prize money will go toward regular household expenses, but he'll put a little towards something fun as well. He said, we're going to take a vacation somewhere nice, somewhere it's not snowing. That's from a man from Maryland, Montgomery County, Maryland. Well done. All right. And I know we don't get political on this show yet. From my choice of Travel Tuesday cities, you can infer what you will. So here we go to Travel Tuesday. And our stop today is Manitoba, Canada. We've been to other areas of Canada, but I thought perhaps we could explore the Manitoba province of Winnipeg, Winnipeg Zoo, all the wonderful things that you can see in this beautiful, beautiful area. So off we go to Manitoba, Canada. These are some of the most wonderful things to do in Manitoba. And the website that I found this on is called Must Do Canada. The first thing is the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. It is in Winnipeg, and it is really pretty cool. That they even have a Canadian Museum for Human Rights, I think is impressive. So here it is, the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. It is the first museum dedicated to the evolution, the celebration, and the future of human rights. And they say it's one of the most stunning pieces of architecture in Canada. They do say it can be heartbreaking to learn about human rights violations that have happened in Canada and around the world. But it's also an important topic that they say everyone should learn about. So you learn about inspiring people who have fought for human rights. So you do end up, hopefully, leaving with knowledge that's sad, but also feeling inspired. They say it's also one of the best views of the city. So pretty. And because we've just gotten off the plane and maybe we're a little hungry, let's stop at a place called the Forks. The Forks, like something you eat with. This is huge. Here it is, the Forks. The Forks in Winnipeg is right next to the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, so we were already right there. And it's both an historic site and it's the top outdoor gathering place for locals and tourists. It's the place where the Red and Assiniboine rivers meet, and it's located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg. It is 54 acres in size. There are all kinds of things to do at the Forks. There is a bustling central market where you can have a little food, find some accommodations. Then you can take a little walk on the beautiful tree-lined paths overlooking the the riverbank. There is a world-class skate park. There's a kids' play area, a water park. All the best things a Winnipeg winter has to offer. Skate rentals, access to one of the world's longest skating rinks there as well. That is the Forks in Winnipeg. Let's go stop by the Winnipeg Zoo. And I would offer aquarium as well. If you see this picture of this gorgeous little otter, the polar bears are there, the otters are there, Canada's most iconic creatures. The polar bears casually swim right over your head in clear tunnels on the Journey to Churchill exhibit. This is Winnipeg's Assiniboine Park Zoo. I'm probably saying that wrong. They say it's an award-winning space that doesn't just showcase Arctic wildlife, it makes you feel like you stepped right into their frosty backyard. Snow leopards, red pandas, as I said, polar bears, all there. They have interactive exhibits, conservation programs, and it's a prime location right in Assiniboine Park. They say it's a must-do Winnipeg experience that's fun and educational and Instagram worthy as well. And I think we have to also take a stop by something called The Leaf. Beautiful place to walk around. Look at this. With the buildings and the flowers and all the greenery. So this is called The Leaf. It's very close to the zoo. You can take a free tram from one to the other. It's The Leaf at an Assiniboine Park. They say it's almost like being teleported out of Winnipeg and dropped somewhere tropical. It's an indoor horticultural attraction, part futuristic greenhouse, part living museum, and full sensory overload in the best way. You can wander through lush biomes filled with rainforest humidity, desert landscapes, fragrant Mediterranean gardens, and it's all under one soaring glass roof. They have a massive tropical biome where there's exotic plants and butterflies, and it's just really beautiful. They say it's a place that you can marvel at and even maybe pick up some appreciation for plant life. Next, we're going to do a little history, and we'll go to Lower Fort Garry. This is a really cool looking old structure. You can take the opportunity here to go back in time, where instead of reading about history, you kind of feel it because you can walk through and touch, even taste. This was built in 1830 along the mighty Red River. It's a National Historic Site, and it used to be a bustling fur trading hub for the Hudson Bay Company. So there are stone walls and restored buildings. They say it's like stepping onto the set of a history movie. They have interpreters there that are all in costume. They have old-fashioned crafts that you can create yourself. You can explore the old powder magazine and officers' quarters and get a real taste for what life was like in 19th century Manitoba. Now, off we go to the Royal Canadian Mint to see where the magic happens. Here's a picture I found of one of the displays at the Royal Canadian Mint. The building that it is housed in is pretty amazing, but the displays are pretty cool too. So the Royal Canadian Mint, of course, produces money for Canada and also other countries around the world. But it is inside of one of Winnipeg's most beautiful buildings. It has a reflective glass exterior that is amazing at sunset. They say it's a very cool place to take a tour and learn about how money is made. You get the opportunity to hold a $600,000 gold bar. Probably the only time we'll be doing that. Admire Olympic gold medals, and get your picture taken or get a photo of your face inside of a penny, if we still do pennies there. I really love some Native American art, and it seems like this is the place to go see it. Incredible. This art is housed at the Quamajuk Art Gallery. Not just a museum, they say, but a playground for the eyes and the imagination. It is home to the largest collection of contemporary Inuit art in the world. There are centuries old carvings here, sculptures, and prints, and then there are modern installations too. Wandering through the galleries, you could be looking at a stunning ice themed sculpture, looking at bold contemporary paintings, or maybe finding something that makes you chuckle. So they say that this proves the Winnipeg Art Gallery and Quamajuk proves that Winnipeg isn't just about polar bears and prairie skies, but art as well. By the way, there's also the Manitoba Museum, which they say is Manitoba's greatest hits album all under one roof, with life-size bison thundering across prairies, massive replicas of 17th century sailing ships. It's called the Nonsuch, that you can climb aboard, galleries that whisk you through time from the Ice Age to outer space. That's at the Manitoba Museum, so that sounds pretty fun too. Or we could learn about Hermetic code. Interesting. This will be an interesting afternoon for us. I say yes. Who votes yes? Let's go. This is near the it's in the legislative building. So you can see the building is incredible. And admiring the outside of the building is great. But there's a Hermetic code tour, and it takes you on a journey to decipher the hieroglyphics, Freemasonic symbols, and numeric codes that are all inside of the interior of what they call this Ode to Olympus. So you really get to see and decipher all of the meaning and the carvings inside of this building. Time to go outside, perhaps? Maybe? I don't know. This looks pretty chilly. I think we can pull it off. This is Fort Wythe Alive, is the name of this area. And it is in Winnipeg. Fort Wythe Alive brings the great outdoors right to the edge of the city. Here's a picture of Fort Wythe Alive. Yeah, it's pretty chilly. I don't know. In Canada, they think this is fun to do. I'm thinking maybe I'm going to sit this one out. But we need to get our exercise and might as well get out there in the cold, right? It's a huge nature center. They say there are hiking trails, cycling paths, canoeing on peaceful lakes, boardwalks that lead you right into wetlands buzzing with wildlife. Bison herds still roam the prairie like it's the 1800s. Bird watchers hit the jackpot in this area. There's snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, ice fishing. So it does sound pretty fun. Fort Wythe Alive, Fort White Alive, it's Whyte. They say is the kind of place that makes you forget you're still in city limits. And you are in city limits because the buildings are beautiful. There's so many historic buildings to see here. Just super beautiful. I have here's an example of one of the buildings in Winnipeg to look at. There's gorgeous old buildings there. It's Exchange District, Winnipeg's Exchange District, is home to North America's most extensive turn of the 20th century buildings. So they said it's really fun to walk around, step into some small plate restaurants and bistros inside of these old historic buildings, go to the galleries, do a little shopping in the vintage and antique shops here. That sounds like a fun day. Yeah, I don't mind braving the cold for a few minutes until you step into the antique shop. That's all right. They have Birds Hill Provincial Park as well, which features hills and ridges formed by ancient glaciers. There's a lake There's aspen forests, there's native prairie wildflowers, deer, songbirds, hiking, walking, camping, swimming. That's Burrs Hill Provincial Park. It's supposed to be really fun. And they have a Winnipeg Folk Fest that takes place in July there as well. One of the things they say you must do at the fine website mustdocanada.com is get your picture taken at this photo op that is right in the very center of Canada. You're right in the smack in the middle of the country. Here it is. I don't know. We could probably do without the picture, but it is kind of cool. They say it's a great photo op. There's a picture of a maple leaf. It says center of or du Canada. And they have the longitudinal coordinates with lots of white and red wildflowers on a little pathway there. Get your picture taken right at the Canada's center. They also have a Canadian Fossil Discovery Center, kind of like what they said if Jurassic Park had a prairie chapter. Pardon me for a vanilla tea break. My very favorite. They said if Jurassic Park had a prairie chapter, it would look like the Canadian Fossil Discovery Center in Morden. They call it a hidden gem, home to the world's largest collection of marine reptile fossils, including Bruce, a massive mosasaur that holds a Guinness World Record as the biggest of his kind. Huge sea monster looking thing. You can walk through their museum, discover giant creatures that once swam where there are now fields. That's kind of cool. Everybody needs a spa day, right? I think we might need a spa day. You can relax at the Thermea Nordic Spa in Winnipeg. It turns out there's a lot more to do in Winnipeg than we thought. I think this could be a fun destination. And here we are at the spa. That looks relaxing. I like it. They say you put on a fluffy robe and find your happy place. The Thermea Nordic Spa is tucked into the trees just minutes from downtown Winnipeg. It's a Scandinavian-style spa. Allows you to slow it down, zone out a little bit, kind of like this show. Soak up some relaxation. And they have, of course, it's because it's Nordic style, right? The alternate between hot, steamy saunas and thermal pools, and then cold, refreshing plunges that wake up all the cells in your body. You can lounge by the fire with a smoothie or a glass of wine. And they have outdoor relaxation areas, soothing spa treatments, and even a gourmet restaurant here. So, pretty nice. Thermea, Winnipeg's ultimate chill-out zone. There's the Grand Beach Provincial Park, which is a wonderful white sand beach in Canada. The dunes rising up to 12 meters high. Super pretty on Lake Winnipeg. And then you can get, they say, a taste of Iceland in the city of Gimli. It's called Gimli, Gimli. Pretty sure I have a picture of Gimli to show you. There it is. And it does kind of look like Iceland with its sweet little harbors and brightly colored buildings. There's Gimli. It's a charming town, and it's a settlement created by Icelanders who came to Canada to found New Iceland back in 1875. And now Gimli is home to some wonderful restaurants and lodging accommodations. There's the New Iceland Heritage Museum, which is dedicated to preserving and presenting this chapter of Manitoba's history where the Icelanders came, trying to found New Iceland in the 1800s. And there's so many parks to visit as well. One of the parks is named Hecla, Hecla. And Hecla Park is really pretty. It's right on this beautiful lake. There's a picture of Hecla Park. Hecla Provincial Park, I should say. It's a feature of Lake Winnipeg. There's some lush forests, some rugged shorelines, some beautiful beaches, lots of wildlife, cross country ski trails, a campground, vacation cabins, an 18-hole golf course. There's Stonewall Quarry Park, which is 40 minutes north of Winnipeg, where giant limestone kilns are the focus of this park, with walking trails, picnic areas, a white sand beach, and swimming in the man-made lake in that area as well. And then there's Pissou Falls Provincial Park with dramatic waterfalls. That's a yes. We'll go to Pissou. Sure, why not? Take us to Pissou. I love it. Pissou Falls is the name of it. I had a picture of that. But it is about as far as you can drive north in Manitoba. Natural hot spots along the way. They say extend the trip a little longer and go all the way up to Thompson. You can go camping in White Shell Provincial Park. I don't know if I'm for a camping, but White Shell Provincial Park looks pretty cool. I will say that. I had a picture of that as well. No? Nope. So White Shell Pacific Park is an area of lush forests and lakes. You can hike, you can mountain bike, there's quiet beaches, more than 200 lakes with walleye, northern pike, perch, smallmouth bass, and trout. So it's a great place to fish, cross-country ski, snowshoe, ice fishing, winter hiking, skating, and snowmobiling. Oh, here's the picture I wanted to show you. They also have an area where you can go check out a UFO site in Canada. There you go. This is a UFO horseback ride in White Shell Provincial Park. They call it a quirky little spot where a flying saucer-shaped house sits tucked amongst the trees. And the best way to get to it is on horseback. It's called the Futuro House. And it looks like it was beamed right out of a 1960s sci-fi movie. And they say the guided trail will take you right through the park's beautiful forests and lakes. And then you get to see what they call an extraterrestrial oddity. Kind of a bucket list adventure. So see a UFO site by horseback, they say. It does. The house is the shape of a UFO. And it's beautiful. The scenery there is beautiful. You can see on the screen. Since we are in this area, hop into this canoe. And I think if this guy can do it, that we can all do it. Because we're going to the Caddy Lake tunnels. It's almost like Waterfall Wednesday and Hide in Your Cave Monday had a baby. Here's this guy in his canoe. We can fit a couple of us in a canoe, right? There you go. And he's going to the Caddy Lake tunnels. Hand-carved rock tunnels blasted through solid granite in the early 1900s for railway tracks, but now they're watery gateways between sparkling lakes. And they feel like you're paddling through a secret passage. You're surrounded by pine forests, rugged shield rock, and the occasional loon call echoing across the water. And the tunnels are just wide enough for canoes and kayaks. They say it's thrilling and peaceful all at the same time. One of those only in Manitoba things to do that mixes natural beauty with a dash of history and lots of bragging rights as well. You can also sleep on the lake in White Shell Provincial Park with a houseboat. You can float in the Pinawa Channel, which also seems to be beautiful. Although my heart is still in the tunnels, I think. Yeah. So this looks fun as well. This is the Pinawa Channel. They say pretend you're in The Last of Us at the Pinawa Dam Provincial Heritage Park. where crumbling ruins and wild beauty come together to create one of the most unique hangouts. It's their very first hydroelectric generating station, and there's an old dam that stands as a reminder of the early 20th century with moss covered concrete walls, arches peeking out from the surrounding forest. History buffs love it. They say it's proof that this area is anything but boring. And then I think we have to go visit the city of Brandon in Manitoba. This is the second largest city in this province. It is a mix, they say, of prairie charm, cultural flair, and outdoor adventure. It's called the Wheat City because it has some strong agricultural roots. But there's a huge art scene and a lot of year-round events, like at the Royal Manitoba Winter Fair, and river trails nearby, a great base for hiking, canoeing, sand dune exploring, craft breweries, and a laid-back small city vibe. So much more to do that I can't possibly get to it, including Turtle Mountain Provincial Park, International Peace Garden, camp at Manitoba Agricultural Museum and Campground, skiing at the Assisipi Ski Area and Resort, which is beautiful and has this really cool Inukshuk monument in Churchill, Manitoba. They call Churchill Canada's Wild North. Go snorkeling with beluga whales in Churchill, Manitoba, kayak with the beluga whales, get close to polar bears. If you want to get too close, view the northern lights. I mean, so much to do. So that's a little visit to Canada, a little checkout of Manitoba on Travel Tuesday. Boy, I kind of went long. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, for being part of it all. Hopefully you go away a little more relaxed. Lovely places, says Susan Roberts. I agree. No UFO side. No, just a UFO house, Phineas. Absolutely. Yeah, it looks fun. Is there a place in Canada named after Mark Thompson? Who knows? I knew it was familiar. Chris says Gimli was the name of the dwarf in Lord of the Rings. Gimli, Gimli. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Nullifidian says the same thing as well. Very cool. All right. Nullifidian says it's okay. Not too long. All right. Well, thank you for that. And I will see you guys tomorrow, where it's going to be a really good Mark Thompson show. Of course, we have John Rothman joining the show, and we have a comedian, an actor that's going to really kind of lighten things up and bring some fun. His name is Elliot. He'll be by the show. Belinda Weymouth is off, but we'll still try to save the planet. Absolutely. Aw, thanks, Liz. Always enjoyed traveling with the After Party Live family. Very fun. Imagine if we actually had trips like this we could go do. Maybe someday. Somebody win the lottery, quick. All right. I hope you make it a very good rest of your day. I'll see you right back here tomorrow on YouTube. But between now and then, make it the best. Bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
If you dare. Oh, the knee report. I have to go have an X-ray. I'm sure it'll escalate from there. That's the latest. I just have to go get an X-ray. And I got a COVID shot and a flu shot. And I need a mammogram and an ultrasound of my lady condo, my husband calls it. My, your baby maker. A lot of things going on, Heather. Apparently I'm old now. And a complete hormone panel because my hair's falling out. Yay! Sorry for the TMI. Thanks, Teacher Lori. You rock. Oh no, I'm so sorry. It's me. I'm a poor button clicker, apparently. I'm so glad you found. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You too. Gotta do it. Good for you. I'm next. It's all long overdue. I told the lady, let's start from my head and work our way down with my laundry list of complaints. I'm sure she was glad I came in. That is the truth, my friend. Nope, all me, not you. I did it, Susan. Wait, I blame you. Oh wait, no, I blame me.